Hey, Daddy, this is the man of the champions, Bill Fonzie Alfonso, giving a shout out to something else. Something else, Daddy.
This is Nickel Matata, Great Warrior Wolf, and you are listening to Something Else.
I'm Tony Cini, and you're listening to Something Else.
Hey everybody, it's Rich Palladino, the voice of New England, and you are listening to Something Else with Arya.
And welcome to episode number 181 of Something Else. Feast your ear holes in this week's episode as we take a look at Corner Gas Season 2, Episode 2 from October 12th, 2004. Wait, wrong show. As we take a look at Mid-South Wrestling and World Class Championship Wrestling from March 31st, 1984. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Houston to my Boston. It's Trae. Trae, how the hell are you today?
Houston and Boston together were tons of fun.
Exactly. You know?
Yeah.
How are things down in good old Texas today?
Weirdly cold again. Like it's so weird. It's hot when it's not supposed to be, and it's cold when it's not supposed to be. So at least it's consistent.
We had that up here today. Well, right now it's 39, but I think the high today was like 43, 44, something like that. It was not a very warm day today. So
And it
my
was
friend Matt wants, so go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My friend Matt wants to know if we would name an entire country pudding.
Do I get to eat it? Am I getting sponsored? Is it gonna get me pudding?
No, no.
Oh, so Yota Tsuji, he has a move that's called the Marlowe Crash
Hmm.
because he likes Marlowe brand pudding. And I respect that because if I was a wrestler, I'd probably have a finisher called the Snack Pack Crack or some shit.
So to clarify, no, you want to name a country after pudding.
Well, not for just, I don't know. I feel like I could get a better sponsorship deal.
And just generic pudding. Like
Well,
what
it's,
about
I don't know. Who the fuck makes pudding? Get with
Dollar
me.
J
Get with me, pudding company. And as soon as I have completed the annexation of Greenland, we'll talk.
Come with me and you'll see. I don't know the next line. Come up with this song. And you'll see we'll eat pudding. Sponsored by somebody who sells pudding. I'm gonna stop singing now. We're gonna turn off the listener. Let's talk about Mid-South, March 31, 1984. Yeah, I lost the two and two. Um, so yeah, for those who joined us last week, uh, the Corner Gas episode was fantastic. Um, you know, sadly, no, we won't be doing a, continued Corner Gas podcast. But thanks to anybody who checked it out. Um, so obviously this puts us a week behind, but I'm confident. I haven't actually looked to see what the episodes are in May, but I'm confident to come May when World Class does the Parade of Champions. I'm confident they're going to do 2 or 3 weeks just on Parade of Champions, so we'll be able to catch up then.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, I'm sure at some point there's a missing episode somewhere where we can just slink in and catch up.
Not
Anyway,
really. I looked. I think
really,
there was one in like February, like a world class in February, And that's the last missing episode for a very long time on either of these.
I guess that's a good thing. I mean, but we'll figure things out. So, um, what do you want to do first? Do you want to do world class or do you want to do mid south? Because mid south,
Uh,
there's a lot of mid south to do.
let's do world class and get it over with, and then do the fun stuff, I guess.
Sure, let's go to World Class Championship Wrestling March 31st. We're gonna play the only audio from World Class, which is the intro with Bill Mercer.
Welcome to World Class Championship Wrestling from the Sportatorium, the most famous wrestling arena in the world, right here in Dallas, Texas. I'm Bill Mercer. Great to have you with us on this World Class Championship Wrestling event. Our main event is going to be a tag team match of great proportions. The Ugandan giant Kamala and his infamous partner, the Missing Link, against another infamous pair, the Freebirds, Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy. And then Mike Von Erich has a tremendously important match against gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. And we have a World Class Championship encore match coming up. It features Mike Von Erich in a special event with Michael Hayes next on World Class Championship Wrestling.
So I don't know about you, but since it's been 2 weeks, I'd forgotten about this week's main event. Um, Kamala and Max versus Michael Hayes and Terry Gordy.
Yeah, I had also forgotten about it, and I don't know. I made this note during that match, but I'll just say it now. I still I watch this show every week. I still have no idea why these heels are fighting each other.
No, it just came completely out of nowhere. And it does set up a match next week, which we'll talk about that later. But we also found out that this week Mike Von Erich is going to have a tremendously important match against Jimmy Garvin. Now, now that we've seen the match, how tremendously important do you think it was?
Well, maybe Bill Mercer had a lot of money on it, and that's why it was tremendously important to him.
Oh, there you go. Um, so they also announced the key words, a mid or a world class encore, which meant we got to fast forward 13 minutes.
What a treat that was.
Yes, maybe I wouldn't say it's the best 13 minutes, but it next to the main event, it was the best 13 minutes of the show. And it was a replay of Mike versus Mike from, wasn't it last week? Like they're getting lazy with these encore matches. Like at least it used to be, oh, let's watch this match from 6 months ago. Like now it's let's watch the match from last week.
I guess I didn't remember because it's been like you said we haven't watched it in 2 weeks. So I remembered the match, but I don't know. I guess I didn't remember exactly when it was. Like it can't have
It,
been very long because Mike hasn't been around very long.
no. And if it wasn't last week, it was the week before. Like, it was
Yeah,
we just saw this match.
yeah.
Well, then Kevin Von Erich visited the hospital for sick children, as opposed to the hospital for perfectly healthy children, I guess.
That's
I do
called
like that they,
school.
yes, I like that they had to specify which hospital this is for. Um, a song that definitely wasn't the song that played in 1984 was dubbed over. Um,
Yeah, I always wish I knew what their original songs were.
the problem is, for whatever reason, World Class is like you can't find torrents of the original World Class for the most part. Like every so often, like somebody will throw up like some Fort Worth stuff or whatever. But by and large, the only World Class torrents you find are the WWE Network / Peacock versions. So
It's
it's
so weird.
yeah. Um, so I wrote that he's trying to manipulate the vote to get the match with Flair on May 6th. Um,
Oh, I didn't think of that.
yeah.
Oh, that's
So
sneak.
Kerry's got up his game next week.
Are you implying that a Von Erich would do something sneaky and nefarious?
Well, Kevin's still alive, so no, not Kevin.
I
Kerry
was
definitely.
uh I was listening to a clip on YouTube today of the fantastic "You've Got to Be Kidding Me" podcast the TNA podcast that started quite a bit before yours and is quite a bit further along. But they were talking about they were going over the Observer most disgusting promotional tactic winners. And amazingly, TNA has only won it once for Pac-Man Jones. But I know, okay, not okay. This is '84. Starting next year, I think World Class wins it 4 years in a row.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And we'll get to see all of it allegedly.
Hmm.
So we get our opener, which is Buddy Roberts versus Chick Donovan. I wrote this certainly has all the trappings of the opening match of the show. So I have a question for you. Is it
Okay.
too soon to re-Christian David Manning as the new David Von Erich?
Huh.
He,
Like he's gonna be adopted now.
like he might as well just, go with the flow since he's so, horribly biased towards the Von Erichs.
Maybe that's his goal. He's trying to get in the will.
Whose will?
Uh,
Will we have Fritz's will, Kevin's will, Carrie's will, Mike's will, Chris's will?
Will Osprey.
Uh, we have Will Osprey.
Uh,
Um, here's all I wrote about this match. They fucked up a monkey flip something fierce, and I don't blame Buddy for that. The match went to the question mark time limit draw.
my watch tells me that they wrestled for 8 minutes and 55 seconds. I zoned out pretty much the whole time. And I realize that this doesn't make sense chronologically speaking, but because of the order that I saw them in, I can only see Chick Donovan as Wish.com Lex Luger. Like when I was a kid, I had a Lex Luger action figure that looked exactly like Chick Donovan.
Maybe it was based on Chick Donovan. You don't think Lex Luger had, may have had better things to do with his life than pose for his own action figure, do you?
They didn't really do that back then. They didn't do the scanning. They were just modeled it on
Yeah.
pictures and stuff. Maybe they were
Yeah.
pictures of Chick Donovan.
Which is how the 1, 2, 3 kid ended up without eyebrows. It was after one of those nights where he had his eyebrows shaved off.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Poor Sean Waltman. I hope,
Poor kid.
he's doing better. Yeah. Have you seen all the stuff that's just come out about Just Incredible?
No, and I was like, I've seen that like Maven and Stevie Richards have posted stuff about Just Incredible on YouTube, but
Yeah.
I haven't looked into it. What has he done?
So I guess, and it started with Maven. Well, I mean, it probably started before Maven, but I mean, Justin apparently has a really bad reputation among indie promoters and fans that apparently he takes fans' money and doesn't give them, whatever they're buying. He no shows dates, and I'll be honest, I can't say I wasn't completely surprised, but like when I met Justin last year at a Top Rope Promotions indie show here in Fall River, Mass, he was a very nice guy. In fact, I'm pretty sure he did not charge me for the selfie that we took, even though like, it out on the table was however much, $10 or whatever. I'm pretty sure he never took my money. But then he was supposed to come back for a follow-up show, and he no-showed that show. That was a month later. So apparently he has a shit reputation here in the area, and I guess that's what Maven confronted him about. And then Stevie Richards followed up on that.
Oh, well, how about that? I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
what was going on.
I did not know that either, to be honest. Um, but somebody might be wondering how the hell we got to Just Incredible based off of Buddy Roberts versus Chick Donovan. Oh yeah, the click because X-Pac. They talk about X-Pac having his eyebrows shaved off. Um,
Yeah, there you go.
yeah. So hey, at least there was a reason this time.
Yeah, there we go.
Might be the first
Sometimes
time
there
that's
is.
ever happened on this show.
Sometimes there is.
All right. Up next, we had Mike versus Jimmy, who was capably assisted in the ring by his valet Precious, according to drunk Mark Lawrence. Okay. When they came back from commercial, is it me or were they chanting "Go home, Freebirds"?
Uh, maybe, maybe they. I don't know. Maybe they tape stuff out of order. No, we're still.
Possibly.
I don't know.
Anyway, Bill Mercer says that Mike Von Erich is no longer a rookie. And he says that about the man who's been wrestling for 5 months.
Yeah,
Plus,
that is a lie.
uh, spoiler alert, PWI names him the 1984 Rookie of the Year, which seems counterproductive since he's not a rookie anymore. Now, Trey, you know, I'm positive you read a lot of PWI as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who do you think, and I'll be surprised if you get all three, who do you think the three runners up were in the 1984 PWI Rookie of the Year poll?
1984.
Yes. Keeping in mind that
Uh,
it's 1984, so sometimes the years that they're listed as Rookie of the Year aren't always accurate. Like some people may have been wrestling longer, but to be honest, I think these three are like less than a full year in 84.
uh, I don't know.
One of them is
I,
somebody that we watch on one of these two shows.
huh. Brad Armstrong?
Nope.
No, we don't watch Brad.
I was about to say, when do we watch Brad Armstrong?
No, you're right. I'm trying to think of who would have debuted, who would have been a rookie-ish in '84, and it's like I think Muto, Chono, Hashimoto all debuted around that time. I think Liger
The- These
debuted
people
around
will
that
not be
time.
named in the PWI Rookie of the Year poll.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they would today.
Oh yeah, yeah, but like in 1984, like remember when Masawa couldn't get anywhere near number one in the PWI 500? Even the year that Dean Malenko was number one, Masawa was like number two. So
Yeah, yeah. No Japanese was number one until that year that Okada was champion for like 2 years, right?
yep.
Anyway,
So do
uh,
you want to
what
take
was the
a
question?
guess or do you
Oh,
want to tap out? Who are the three
uh,
runners up?
hold on. Who are the three runners up? Okay, somebody. It's got to be somebody on Smoky Mountain. Who would have been a rookie in 80? I don't know. I don't know. Tell me.
Okay. So the three runners up are Nikita Koloff, Crusher Khrushchev,
Okay.
and Kevin Kelly, which was probably Nails and not, the announcer Kevin Kelly.
Probably.
Yeah. Um, so the fans chant, "We want sunshine." Didn't they just hear Mark Lawrence say that Precious was capably assisting Jimmy Garvin? Why do they want sunshine? Um, Now, I know you said you were tuning out during the opener, but were you were you paying attention during this match?
Um.
Okay.
Well,
Can you
kind of.
tell
Here's the
me,
thing.
can you explain to me why there was a woman in the crowd holding up a naked doll that she was punching, which apparently was done in a way to put down Jimmy Garvin?
That was absolutely the only thing that I had written about the body of this match was that they showed a black woman in the audience and she was holding a naked white baby doll covered in blood by its hair.
I did
What
not
the
notice it was covered in blood.
what the fuck was that?
Apparently that was a way to put down Jimmy Garvin.
Look, if I was Jimmy Garvin, I would be concerned.
I'd be confused. Um,
Yeah.
so remember like a month ago when Chris Adams stole Jimmy Garvin's clothes and then never wore them again on TV, so we just assumed somehow Jimmy Garvin got them back? Well, Chris Adams came out
Hmm.
dressed in Jimmy Garvin's clothes, which understandably pissed off Jimmy Garvin. So he heaved Mike out of the ring for the disqualification. I I'm trying to like link those two together. I'm so mad at you, Chris Adams. I'm going to throw Mike Van Erich over the top rope.
I am so angry. Yeet. Yeet the
Release
boy.
urine. Um, so
Oh,
Mike was like, "You don't throw me out of the ring." He got back in the ring and threw Garvin over the top rope, which, to be fair,
yes.
should have led to a reverse decision double disqualification. But Bronco Lubick is sometimes as biased as David Manning Von Erich.
Let us
Um,
reiterate that Mike Von Erich made his own comeback to complete this segment.
yes, Mike Von Erich is getting a little bit of a push here, probably more than he probably deserves. But I mean, not only is his last name Von Erich, there's also only like 14 people in the territory. You know, everyone's going to get a push at some point.
Yeah, you got to use somebody.
So I must have seen this on Facebook while watching this show because I randomly have in the middle of my notes, "Hey Trey, did you know that the actress who played Hillary on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was and probably still is the niece of Iceman King Parsons?"
Really?
Apparently, I mean, I saw it on Facebook, so it has to be true.
Well, I hope she would still be. I hope they didn't have such a falling out that they disowned each other.
Yeah, yeah. It's time for our main event: Max and Kamala with Fry Ye and General Skandor Akbar versus Terry Gordy and Michael Hayes. And the crowd was really into this battle of the heels as a four-way breaks out before the bell even rings. And they announced that next week, for the six-man tag team titles, it's all three Freebirds versus Kamala, Max, and Super D number two. What a weird random match. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't mean to, throw aspersions on the rankings of World Class, but I want to see the rankings and I want to see how Max, Kamala, and Super D number two earned a title shot.
I, I have a whole booking philosophy about trios titles, but this is world class, and I'm not gonna dignify it with putting intellect into explaining it.
I think we should all just be happy that a second team is getting to challenge the Freebirds for the belts.
That's true.
Um, so they got the heat on Hayes, which answered the question as to who the babyface would be in this match. Max missed his diving headbutt, which led to Gordy getting the hot tag. This show is really weird, I wrote. Max tried holding Hayes down for a Kamala splash, but Hayes moved, and because this is wrestling and this kind of thing makes sense, Max was holding Hayes down by the arms. When Hayes moved, he was able to position Max in the way of the Kamala splash. Akbar hit the ring for disqualification, followed by Frye and Buddy Roberts, and a battle royal broke out. The Super Ds ran in to help, followed randomly by Nick Kiniski, who promptly got thrown out of the battle royal. Mike and Kerry Von Erich ran in, and I started wondering if we really do have a battle royal. And finally, the Freebirds and the Von Erich stood victorious in the battle royal and stood 5 feet away before the Birds turned to leave. So the Von Erichs turned to leave, and the Freebirds attacked them from behind, but the Von Erichs won the impromptu five-man battle royal and threw out the Freebirds, meaning that in the tag match between the Freebirds and Max and Kamala, the winners, the last team standing, were the Von Erichs.
I was really confused at like the end of this match with the big brawl because it's like now everybody is united against Devastation Incorporated, who have been here the whole time that I've been watching this show, and they have never been presented as any kind of a threat to anyone. Like, really. Like,
I mean,
these are the most, like, fucking B tier group of heels ever. They are not a threat to anyone. And I was just
Kamal.
confused at why they were suddenly a big enough threat that that the fucking Von Erichs and the Freebirds are gonna fight side by side, and it turns out that they're not. And I was just grateful to the Freebirds for restoring some normalcy to the timeline.
It's funny because I think you joined in just as Kamala's push ended. Because he was
Yeah,
getting a,
he sure hadn't been
he was getting,
pushed since.
yeah.
Well,
You're like the curse on people. Jeesh. Kamala was all over both shows, winning matches frequently, and then you showed up and he just stopped. You
sorry,
know?
Kamala.
Well, we know who to blame for this. Anyway, so that was World Class, a show that we somehow still took like 20 minutes to review. I'm as surprised as you are, folks. Let's go now to a show that's going to take us a lot longer than 20 minutes to review. Mid-South Wrestling, March 31st, 1984. Let's go to the intro of the show with Jim Ross and not Boyd Pierce, not Bill Watts, but Jim Cornette.
Welcome to Mid-South Wrestling. My name is Jim Ross, and I'll be your host for the next exciting hour of professional wrestling action sanctioned by Mid-South Wrestling. We've got a lot of exciting things during this hour of Mid-South Wrestling to tell you about and to show you. We've got some exciting matches. We also want to update you on the Mid-South Television Tournament for $10,000. The semifinal match today, if you were here last week, you saw Terry Taylor and Hacksaw Butch Reed collide in the ring. We ran out of time. Well, that match has been rebooked here today, so we hope to have a winner here today. It'll be Hacksaw Butch Reed against Terry Taylor. The eventual winner will go against Crusher Khrushchev in 2 weeks for $10,000. Also,
why are you so concerned with trivial matters, Jim Ross? Tell the people that I am the manager of the Midnight Express, the Mid-South Tag Team Champions. We are the finest that Mid-South has to offer. We've decimated and destroyed the best, including I noticed the want ads in newspapers all across the country have an advertisement for a new color commentator for Mid-South Wrestling because it seems that Bill Watts is unable to fulfill his obligations. I believe he's a little bit under the weather.
well, Cowboy Bill Watts, we'll talk about that as we go along.
Well, I'll talk about it now. I
As a
think
matter-
I could fill that position just fine.
Well, whether you could or not remains to be seen. But ladies and gentlemen, last week, or 2 weeks ago rather, Mr. Cornette had a victory celebration. And that celebration was rather short-lived. And I think that it would be appropriate right now to review that film again. Let's join that film in progress.
Okay. So I marked out when they open the show and JR welcomes us. Cornette waves at the camera. Like,
Yes.
that just seemed weirdly random, but I marked out for it.
Delightful. Delightfully douchey.
Yes. So today we allegedly have a rematch between Butch Reed and Terry Taylor in the television tournament for a medal and $10,000, with the winner facing Crusher Khrushchev in 2 weeks. And I'm like, why 2 weeks? Like, why is it not next week? And then I remembered, and we'll really get into this next week, believe me, but this is the go-home show to the Superdome. Next week's show is more or less head-to-head with the Superdome show next week. So we're going to watch next week's show, and that'll be the show we end up talking about for like 10 minutes next week. But this is essentially the go-home show, and so they're setting up everything for you to watch in 2 weeks because they know that, hey, they're on to something here, so people are not going to be sitting at home watching Mid-South next week.
Well, you hope not.
Yeah, hopefully not. And hey, it paid off because, they do was it like 25,000 people or something?
A big one. It was a big one.
Yeah. Now, Corny says that he can fill the color commentator position very well, and he can. He definitely can.
Absolutely.
And then they replay the cake angle and the slap, and you might be thinking to yourself, wait. The last time they replayed the cake angle, Jim Cornette was screaming and hollering about he's going to have his mama sue Mid-South, and then Big Head had to come up and, got slapped, and Cornette ended up getting slapped in the face for it. So you might be like, why is Jim Cornette okay with watching this angle 2 weeks later? Spoiler alert, he's not. Let's go to a quick little soundbite with JC and JR.
I had thought, Jim Ross, I believe I told you I did not ever want to see that thing again. That was the most humiliating thing that's ever happened to me, and I'm never going to let it. When I own Mid-South Wrestling, and believe me, my mother will buy that stock, that thing will never be seen again, nothing detrimental to a Cornette. And as for that heathen who hit me, that was the hardest thing that I've ever felt in my entire life. I have never been hit that hard by a ball bat, a brick, or anything else, and nothing like that should ever happen to me. I've told Dennis and Bobby never to let anybody hit me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we also have some footage we want you to see. Bill Watts was pre-taping some interviews after that, during that encounter 2 weeks ago, and we want to show exactly what happened there.
Equal time.
All right. So from here, they replay Watts trying to interview Butch Reed last week about the television tournament for a medal and $10,000. But the Midnight Express had better things to do and assaulted poor Bill Watts from behind.
How dare
I
they?
did not notice this last week, but you notice Bill Watts played dead when the Midnight Express got done with him? Like
Did
he was
he?
not moving around a little bit to get back to the street. Nope, he was sprawled out, in his best Raven pose. Excuse me.
Give him credit. He did it right.
Yes, indeed. So that's where we are already. So just, a lot of replays of what we've already seen. And safe to say those angles are still great the second time we've watched them now?
Yes, very much. The slap was
Okay.
just as satisfying second time. And, well, the 12th through 17th time.
I'm going to say it might have been a little bit more than once or twice. It will never get old watching Jim Cornette fly out a camera shot
No.
by getting slapped in the face.
Amazing.
His feet ended up on the shot, but oh, poor bastard.
Incredible. Incredible.
Yes. All right. So from here, let's go back to the announce desk. JR and Jim Cornette are crowing. Well, actually, Cornette's crowing. JR is looking stern, and they're going to pitch it to a Bill Watts promo.
That's something that's just a little bit more to my liking, Jim Ross. You see what happens. I've told people time and time again, nobody puts their hands on me, and I've especially told Dennis and Bobby, if anyone is to touch me in any way, I don't care who it is, wrestler or otherwise, they should swoop down on them and leave no meat on their bones like a pair of vultures. That's exactly what happened to your Buffalo Bill Watts. Nobody places their hands on me, Jim Ross. I've told you time and time again.
All right, let me interrupt here just for a moment and let you know that you are not dealing with a normal human being. You're not dealing with a normal athlete, and he's not
a washed-up ex-cowboy.
No, I think that you've got things all wrong. Cowboy Bill Watts, for a long, long time, was an international wrestling star, a top 10 contender in many wrestling associations, the former North American champion. He settled scores very uniquely. He settled them mentally, and he settled them physically. And he settled things very uniquely. And I talked to him a couple of days ago. Let's hear what he had to say.
I've been very fortunate in the last few years to see some very exciting and unusual things in Mid-South Wrestling. But the sport of wrestling is very unpredictable, and Bill, what happened here last week, I'm like everybody that's seen it. It was totally uncalled for, and I know that you want to make a statement in regards to that incident.
Well, that's right, Jim. I think all sports are getting a little bit out of control. It seems like life itself is, that when people want to try to live within the framework of the rules and regulations, it seems like they get stepped on and they get run over, and they try to get some kind of justice, and they can't get it. I think more and more people are just having to take things into their own hands. And certainly, when I retired from wrestling, I retired by choice, not because I had to. And I'm no stranger to lumps and bruises. I knew when I got into the sport of professional wrestling that you had to be able to lose as well as win. And I never was where I couldn't look a man in the eye that beat me fair and square and said, you were a better man tonight. You won this one. Didn't mean I wasn't going to try to whip him later. But when thugs try to enforce their rule by running over everybody, by forcing people into matches, by tarring, feathering them, by whipping them with belts, and I admit that I lost my temper, something I haven't done in 2 years, and I slapped one loudmouth sissy. Now let me tell you, pal, just because I've kept that temper in check for a couple of years, when you're insulting my family, you're attacking me deep. And there's no American out there. This country was made on standing up for what's right and standing up for God and country and your family. So I'm not apologizing for slapping your mouth, sissy. But what happened? The way you got back, things are out of control. You know, I thought about it a long time. Fines don't work because he doesn't pay him, his mommy does. Beating him up, everybody knows I can do that. I want to humiliate him. I want one last time. The last stampede, I guess. I guess the fire is still there. I want it to come on out and boil down one time. Cowboy Bill Watts back in the ring one time. And I want to humiliate Jim Cornette in the Midnight Express in such a way that he will be ashamed to ever show his face. He won't ever be able to look people in the eye because everybody's going to say, remember what Cowboy Bill Watts did to you? You'll never forget the last stampede, Cornette. I got a surprise for you and the Midnight Express.
I am tired, Jim Ross, of hearing what used to be. Steak used to be 10 cents a pound. That's just a mouthful of memories. What I want to know is what can one man do? That is one man there. There's three of us, and believe me, that guy is a lunatic, and I don't ever go anyplace without Dennis and Bobby. But what can one man do to the Midnight Express?
Well, I think that better than I should answer the question, the Cowboy Bill Watts should answer the question. And if you'll sit right here where you are, we do have a commercial commitment to make, but if you'll sit right here where you are, he'll be out here, right here, after this commercial message, and we'll let him answer that question to you personally.
I have to make a phone call to my mother over there.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cowboy Bill Watts will join us momentarily. Now let's break for this network message.
You know, it's too bad that JC had to call his mama because, you know, I was looking forward to the big confrontation here between Jim and Bill.
Oh, I'm sure he would have. I'm sure Cornette would have settled that whole thing, and there would have been no Last Stampede because Cowboy wouldn't have wanted anymore.
You know, Jim, he's a very tough man. You know, he goes out there and kicks some ass and takes some names, and you know, I was most offended by the steak used to be 10 cents a pound line.
That would,
you know.
When we get that time machine.
There we go. Now, here's the thing, though. If we get the time machine and go back in time to get some 10-cent a pound steak and bring it to the present, would that spoil the steak even though it's coming with us? Because, you know.
No.
Okay.
Time travel.
It's a complicated matter. But, so yeah, Watts wants to humiliate Jim Cornette. He wants to humiliate the Midnight Express. And to the point that Cornette will never be able to look someone in the eye. And, you know, if you haven't been able to figure this out yet, this is a very talk-heavy episode of Mid-South Wrestling. We'll get to the end of the show, and we're going to talk about exactly how much wrestling is on this show. But this is a show that Vince Russo would be proud of.
So I wasn't the only one that added it up.
I mean, there were, spoiler alert, there are two matches that actually begin and end. So, I mean, I timed it out at 1:59.
If you include the replay of a 2-year-old match, there is approximately 2 minutes and 25 seconds of match time on the show.
Or in a 46 minutes and 46 seconds, in case anyone wants to know how long the show goes. So we went to commercial, we come back from commercial, and Bill Watts is here to talk some more. Let's go to JR and Cowboy Bill.
Wrestling fans, Jim Cornette didn't stay with us to find out exactly what Cowboy Bill Watts had on his mind. But Bill, after what happened here just a few weeks ago, what very controversial thing, I've talked to a lot of people around the country, and the first thing they ask is, what's Bill going to do? And I know better than they ask the man himself.
Well, like I said, to fine him doesn't do any good because his mama pays the fines. And to whip him won't do any good because everybody knows I can do that. So the thing you got to do, you got to humiliate him in such a way that anytime he hears my name, it's going to put chill bumps down his spine. And in order to do that, like he said, there's 3 of them. So I got to get a tough partner. You know, I've stayed in shape because I've always had a lot of pride, and I retired because I wanted to. But I'm not in the shape to go on a long campaign, so I only want to go one time, and I want everything riding on it, all the marbles on it, one time, one last Stampede. Well, I took a little trip, Jim, and you were with me, and we went to Wadesboro, North Carolina, way out on a farm by a catfish pond, and we talked to somebody. Let's watch that now.
Oh, Jim, there's JYD. You see him clear on the other side of that pond there. Look at him lifting that iron. He's sure getting after it, Bill. Look at that fishing pole. You can barely see that fishing pole sticking in the ground there. He's got it made, don't he? He stays in shape and he keeps his head straight, I'll guarantee you. It looks like we're going to have to find a way around this old pond here.
Righty. So I have to turn the audio off because they start playing real music in the background for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
Yep. So in an effort to not get too many YouTube copyright strikes here, we're going to not play the next 30 seconds. But basically, you heard it. Bill Watts needs some help. He can't wrestle the Midnight Express by himself because, you know, even if he doesn't mention this, but even if he's at his prime, he'd only be one Bill Watts versus 2, you know, tremendous wrestlers, you know, and the Mid-South Tag Team Champions to boot.
And one sissy. He likes that word sissy, doesn't he?
Bill Watts is still alive, right?
As far as I know. Last I checked.
I'd be afraid to read a Bill Watts Twitter feed.
What's that? Oh, he would
yeah.
You don't want to know.
Yeah, it's like you know, but you don't know. But yeah, he's probably still going on and on about real men and those damn Russians and you know the oil interests over in Iraq. You know when Iron Sheik died, he probably poured one out, and you know, but still. So yeah, we're in North Carolina. Bill Watts is now at the Junkyard Dogs. I don't know.
Compound.
Compound. Yeah, there we go. The compound of the Junkyard Dog, where he's working out by lifting really heavy weights up and down. And I mean, hey, you ask the average kid in the 80s and 90s, how do you work out? They'd probably tell you, lift heavy weights up and down.
Yeah. Didn't have a whole lot of technique.
Nope. All right. And so Bill and JR, you got to wonder if, you know, if Junkyard Dog was aware that they were come up to randomly ask him these questions here. You know, poor Jim or poor Junkyard Dog being intruded upon at his house by Bill Watts and Jim Ross.
Man's just trying to honor a stipulation.
Speaking of that, I was going to bring it up later, but it's like, ultimately, what was the point of that stipulation? Like, I know they kind of brought it up like a few weeks before that, but it's like it was done so haphazardly that it's like, why? And I guess it was done in a way to screw Dog out of the title and not have him go after it right away. And this way you could, you know, put TA against 2. But this just felt like way too much effort to to have the Junkyard Dog team with Bill Watts.
Maybe they just really wanted it to be Stagger Lee for reasons.
And poor Bill Dundee couldn't think of a good enough reason.
Well, just because he hasn't told you and me doesn't mean he didn't have a good enough reason.
Is Bill Dundee still alive?
You know, as far as I know, Bill Dundee is still alive, living in Germantown. Let's give him a call.
Well, he's 81 years old. God damn it, God bless him. And apparently he's on TikTok.
Oh, phenomenal.
What the world needs is Bill Dundee on TikTok.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get on there and check that out.
Yes. All right. So while Trey checks out TikTok, we're gonna play the promo here. Bill Watts has approached Junkyard Dog. They're gonna be talking mid-sentence because again, like they were talking with music playing, they just turned it off. But let's go to JYD and Bill now.
Help, and you and I've been together a long, long time. I got into it with Cornette and the Midnight Express, and to tell you the truth, they really worked me over. And I want one time to show them they can't get away with that, but I need a partner. And you and I, been together a long time, and you're the one guy I can trust all the way down, and I need your help. I need you to come help me against that Midnight Express and that Cornette.
Well, you know my deal, Bill. I made a promise, and I used to keep my word. I said I was going to be gone for 90 days, and I know you need my help, and I know you did a lot of things for me. You helped me out of time of need, but my word always been my word, man.
Your word has been good, but, Bud, one time I was retired and already out of it, and there's some guys that blinded you. 9 weeks, you didn't see your baby, you didn't see your wife. Freebirds and Michael Hayes. And then they tried to get you again in St. Bernard, going to put you out completely, and I come to help you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did, Bill.
Well, I'm here and I'm in a jam, and the thing about a deal like this is you got to have somebody you trust all the way.
I know that too, Bill, but the things that we always stood by, and you taught me as well as so my parents taught me, and I took a lot of things from you. My word is my bond, and that's what I'm going to try to stick by. So I was going to be gone for 90 days, and I just got to be gone for 90 days.
You never ask a man to go back on his word, especially a man whose word is his bond, because you're one of the last guys I know in this whole world that when you say something, you don't have to have it in writing or anything. When you shake hands on it, that's the way you are. I can't push you on that, but man, I'm in serious trouble. And I can't wait 90 days. I got to have one time only, and get it done and get it over with.
I know you want that, Bill, but like I said, man, I know you helped me when I was down and out, and I promised I was going to do it for 90 days, and my word always have been my bond, and
come a long way, and I can't go back and catch some of them big old catfish and get that music jiving and doing it. I understand. I'll see you when you get back.
Yeah, okay. Hey, wait a minute, wait. I promise I'll be gone for 90 days. Gee, wait. But I do know somebody.
Yeah?
Yeah. Now, I don't care too much for him because he say I owe him money. Say he wanted a North America belt and sent it back to me. And I don't trust the guy. The guy used to take my milk, but he's nasty, Bill. He likes to beat up people. Hey, right now, you like to beat up people. You're a street fighter, and this guy's real nasty. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. And that's S. Lee. And I'll tell you what, while you guys in town, he's still not too far from here, which I know his parents pretty good. We might ride out there and try to frog him out a little bit. I try to get the guy to come out fishing with him, but I don't get well.
He's bad. I didn't even know he was free. I thought he'd been on a little R&R someplace where they didn't really, they kept pretty close tabs on you.
Yeah, he kept a little lid on his feet for a while. I think he got on my pole out there in the water, but I think the boy's selling free now.
Man, if we could find him, that'd be the next best thing. He's pretty tough. He used to whip you when you was a kid.
Yeah, I don't know if my old truck will make up in that muddy road now, but he stayed way back on in the woods now, but we'll try to find him.
Let's see what we can do.
All right.
All right. So that was part 1, and there's a part 2 to go with this. But so Watts asks Dog to be his partner at the Last Stampede. Dog points out that he's gone for 90 days, and Watts essentially says, hey, I selfishly helped you and didn't want anything in return, and now I'm asking for something in return. And Dog is like, well, too fucking bad. I'm going to wait 90 days. And Watts is like, he can't wait 90 days. So Dog mentions our good friend S. Lee.
Slee?
Yes, Slee, S. Lee. Now you weren't around the first time we had S. Lee, and they'll show us some stuff later here. But here's a question for you. Why can't Bill Watts wait 90 days?
Because you got to draw a house for the Superdome next week.
Well, okay, that's a shoot. But in kayfabe, It's not even 90 days anymore. We're down to 76 days until Junkyard Dog can come back. Why can't he wait 11 weeks? That would give Bill Watts 11 weeks to train and get back in ring shape and get ready to take on the Midnight Express.
He stays training, though. He's already ready.
He was born ready.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's going exactly the way it is, and of course, like they had to film this outside. Like you're telling me, like Junkyard Dog doesn't have a garage or something that they could have filmed this in, and like cut down on all the wind and background noise. No, we can't have that. That would be too staged, I guess.
It was also like a really bad, like the tape was, the tracking on this tape was off.
Yes. Just be happy, listeners, that you're not watching the video to go along with it. I don't know why you'd be happy about that, but just be happy about that.
Gotta be happy about something.
Yes. All right. So they're going down up the river to go see S. Lee, who apparently Junkyard Dog owes money to. Why doesn't Junkyard Dog pay his debts?
He said he says he owes him money. The dog doesn't agree that he owes Slee money.
You would think these two would like have it out one day. You know?
Well, maybe they're got an ongoing case in small claims court.
Perhaps they should settle it here in our court, the People's Court. Dun 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 dun. I still loved that show when I was a kid. And I'm talking about like the original People's Court, like back in like the early 90s, late 80s.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. I never really saw it. I saw like Judge Judy and stuff later on.
And they could only wish that they were as great as the original People's Court. All right.
Oh.
So JR now has to be blindfolded for reasons. And at this point, like I want to ask, I want to tweet JR to see if there was anything Bill Watts would have asked him to do if he would have said no. But let's go to JR, who's now going to creep up upon S. Lee. Oh,
well, that was
we're going to start with Bill Watts.
Lee. But you know, I couldn't go down that road with you because nobody can see Stagger Lee's face. As a matter of fact, Jimmy told you when you made verbal contact to put a blindfold on because he wants to be sure he's under that mask to talk to you. And, well, you carry this part of it because you were involved. You were my agent in this.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very unusual circumstance, I must say. Let's watch the film now. I think it'll be self-explanatory.
Oh, that's close enough.
That's you, Stagger Lee?
Who you come to see?
I come to see Stagger Lee.
Whose property is this?
Stagger Lee's property.
All right, then take that mask off so I can see your face. Now, what do you want?
Stagger Lee, I got a message for him.
Don't get too close to me.
Okay. I've been walking a long way. I've been trying to find you.
What?
Well, listen. Bill Watts has got a problem, and Junkyard Dog said that he wouldn't let you come in here.
No, I ain't gonna let him come in. The boy owe me money. If I kick around my place, if I don't stick my dogs on him, I know he's back behind them bushes somewhere, Howdy, because he told you to signal, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
So what did Cowboy Bill Watts want with the dog?
Cowboy Bill Watts?
He don't want the dog to do it. He wants Stagger Lee because he know that dog will trick him out of his money. The dog get the money and run off. S. Lee won't do that. So what do he want?
He needs you to come help him. He's got a bad problem. You know he's been retired. He got worked over pretty bad on television the other day by Jim Cornette, the Midnight Express. And he's going to come out of retirement for one time because he wants to get the Express. He's going to come out of retirement one time and go for it against them. And he wants you as his partner. He needs your help.
Hey, what about the money?
Cowboy Bill Watts has always been good for us, man.
Yeah, I heard it was a man he was with. You get back, you tell Cowboy Bill Watts that I'll help him. But you also give him another message. This world is only big enough for one mass, man, and that's Lee. Better known throughout the world behind the walls is Sweet Lee. So you get yourself on out of here, and you tell Bill Watts what I said. And you also tell him what I said about that mass man. And make yourself scared. And don't get that Junkyard dog and bring it back in no more. Get on off my property.
Well, Bill, it was a very successful mission. Stagger Lee is on his way.
That's right. He said he'd be there, and boy, you can bank on that. And for those of you that have never met Stagger Lee, I had the happy pleasure of introducing him one time as he went in the ring against Ted DiBiase. Let's recall that great moment.
All right. So poor JR has to sneak across Stagger Lee's property while blindfolded. That seemed like it could lead to some nothing good could possibly happen out of that. That's what I'm trying to say.
Nah, perfectly safe to walk around a junkyard blindfolded.
Yes, especially Stagger Lee's junkyard while blindfolded.
I bet there's some nasty dogs in that junkyard.
Aha. You know, because you see, it could be the junkyard dog. See, I think, and from here they show us the Ted DiBiase thing, which I'll get to in a second. But I thought it was nice of Stagger Lee in the last 2 years, while Junkyard Dog was putting on a good deal of weight, that Stagger Lee seems to be putting on the same amount of weight.
It's like you know how like when a person's partner is pregnant, they'll put on sympathy weight. It's the same with you when you have a frenemy. That if they put on weight, you'll subconsciously put on weight too because you know you feel weird about them, but at the end of the day, you wouldn't be who you were without your frenemies.
That's true, and I mean they do have a good frenemyship because you know, we saw on this show a few years ago when Stagger Lee was here the last time, they were both helping Paul Ellering lift weight. And you know,
Such friendly, helpful fellows.
Exactly. Now, Stagger Lee does want his money. I wonder if we'll ever find out why he feels Junkyard Dog owes him money.
Yeah, I need to hear both sides of this.
Now, Trey, I do have to ask you, what the hell did Stagger Lee say?
Uh, that he was gonna help. First, like he said that he asked Ross if Ross was looking for the dog, and then he said, "Well, no, he wouldn't be looking for the dog. He's looking for me because he knows that the dog will jip him out of his money." He's really on dog about this money thing. So apparently, Slee was concerned that the dog might take Bill Watts for a ride and not give him his money's worth. But Stagger Lee, a man of integrity, he is going to help Bill Watts. He's going to take his money, but he's going to be there and he's going to help Bill Watts.
I think Stagger Lee is easily the Stewie Griffin of this group here.
Because
Junkyard Dog is Brian Griffin because he won't pay Stewie his money.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know where I thought that was going. But I was.
It's all good.
Because victory shall be his.
Maybe. I mean, he's going to the Superdome. I do think it's funny they keep saying he's coming out of retirement for one time for the Last Stampede, and they never specifically say that it's at the Superdome because he's coming out of retirement for one Last Stampede around the loop. You know, every town is going to have a Last Stampede.
Well, nobody ever said that there could only be one Stampede.
I mean, by calling it the Last Stampede, that kind of implies there might only be one Last Stampede.
It's a multi-part Stampede.
They may not have drawn as well.
Yeah,
multi-part Stampede.
The last and the next to last and the semi-penultimate Stampede.
Now, from here they showed the fantastic freak out. that young Ted DiBiase had back in 1982. Had you ever seen this before?
I hadn't. No, I don't think so.
Okay, so this was when DiBiase and Matt Bourne had defeated, pardon me, had defeated Mr. Olympia and Junkyard Dog in the Loser of the Fall Leaves Town for 90 Days stip. And that's when Jim Duggan came out in the gorilla suit, which was a tremendous piece of business. But he comes out in the gorilla suit, he distracts everybody, and it leads to Dog getting pinned. And the very next week, and I was a little surprised because I thought more time had passed, but the very next week, DiBiase comes out on TV to wrestle S. Lee, and out comes fucking Randy Pee Wee Anderson in tights. Like, if you thought this guy was scrawny normally, there's a reason they call him Pee Wee. I didn't know he had to have been an actual wrestler because how the hell else would he have had tights made? But like, I don't know, 110 pounds, 120 pounds maybe? And like the scrawniest guy you ever see, and he's got the banner that says S. Lee is Stagger Lee, and DiBiase freaks the fuck out. And they showed the whole match where Stagger Lee came down and pinned Ted DiBiase with the thump.
Yeah, just happens that. Well, I'm sure it's because they went to high school together that they both learned the technique that led to the development of the thump.
Exactly. So, do you know the story about Jim Duggan and the gorilla suit?
I feel like I do, and I've just forgotten, and you're going to tell me.
Yeah, because what the hell? It's a fun story. So the match was supposed to be DiBiase and Duggan versus JYD and Mr. Olympia. And they started that week by announcing that Duggan had gotten arrested and he was in jail. But DiBiase had flown in Matt Bourne from Portland to be his partner in this match. And the same stipulations, the titles were on the line, the loser leaves town for, I guess it was 90 days. All that stuff was still in place. And oh, by the way, the Louisiana State Fair is happening next door, and their mascot, they have a gorilla mascot. They show him in the crowd, and he was leading all the kids to come in and watch the Mid-South Wrestling show. And then after the show, they're all going to go out and have fun at the state fair. And it was like, they said it, but they didn't harp on it. Like nowadays, it would be like, okay, someone's under the gorilla suit. And then like the match happens and not Junkyard Dog, but Olympia, I think, was outside the ring. And the gorilla comes out and attacks him. And he's like, what's this? What's going on? And, oh, it's Duggan. It's Dugan. And that's the gorilla.
It's Dugan. Funny.
Between Jim Dugan and Ted DiBiase, I don't know how we ever pronounced anyone's name right on this show.
Maybe we're not. Maybe they're still wrong.
Maybe we've been pronouncing it wrong.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
I always like, and I don't think you were here during this time because he turned babyface and started pronouncing his name right. But one time Boyd was like, you can call him Dugan or Duggan with 2 G's, whichever. I'm like, no, it's not whichever. His name is Duggan with 2 G's, not Dugan.
Exactly.
All right. So we then get a Bill Watts music video set to Eye of the Tiger, and I was sad it wasn't the whole Eye of the Tiger song because I was, mid-song getting my groove on to some Survivor, and it suddenly get cut off, and we're back at the ring where Bill Watts, he's been gone for like 10 minutes, and in the meantime, he's come back with a nightgown. Let's go to JR, Bill, and a nightgown.
Well, thank you for the memories, Jim, but now let's get down to what's happening and what's current. Stagger Lee and I are going to go against the Midnight Express. But we're going to go against them with one thing in mind. That's to humiliate Jim Cornette. He's always talking about his mommy. This is one of her dresses. But I think he'd look a lot better in it. I think Cornette would look real slick in that dress. So the match is going to have some kind of stipulations about if we win the bout, how he's going to be dressed afterwards, or maybe better than that, he's never learned to quit drinking milk from a bottle. I think it'd be real good to refresh him, or even this pair of diapers. You know, Cornette, I don't know. I thought about a pacifier, Cornette, but, you know, if I'm dressing you in some of this gear, you may not have the teeth to keep the pacifier in your mouth. But I'll guarantee you one thing, Cornette. That match is going to be signed, and you're going to be humiliated. You're going to be one embarrassed fool, sissy, running around here in your new wardrobe.
There you hear from Cowboy Bill Watts. Now, we'll be back with more Mid-South Wrestling action after this word from the network.
I like that they aren't even like, you know, acting like, oh, it's the loser is going to wear a dress or a diaper. It's when they lose, Jim Cornette will wear a dress. Jim Cornette will wear a diaper. Yada,
I
yada,
appreciate
yada.
the honesty.
Yeah. Although you're going to start thinking that wrestling might not be real.
The hell you say?
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to besmirch you like that, Trey.
How dare you?
But so aren't, you know, babies don't have teeth. Like they don't need teeth to suck on a pacifier.
Correct.
Okay. So if he knocks out Cornette's teeth, why would that matter?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, great. So that was the first 25 minutes of this 46-minute show was that.
Yes, it
And
was.
it was great. It was fucking great. It set up the match. It set up Watts getting his partner. It set up the stipulations for the match. And let you know this is one time only. Bill Watts is not coming out of retirement to go after the North American title. You know, obviously, you know, if he's only coming out of retirement for one match, the tag titles aren't going to be on the line, which probably tells you who the linear Mid-South tag team champions are. But, you know, this is it. This is your one chance to see Bill Watts get his hands on that sissy, Jim Cornette.
The last chance. The last stampede.
Yes. And I just thought about something. You know, Junkyard Dog leaves in 4 months. Why doesn't Stagger Lee come in to replace him?
He probably just lost interest, you know.
That's true. Or maybe nobody even thought about it. You know?
Yeah.
Or they were
Why would
were
you?
worried that if they went to that part of North Carolina, they might see the dog and get into a huge fist fight or something. You know? Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
All right. So 25 minutes and 30 seconds into the show, it's time for a match, allegedly. It is North American champion Mr. Wrestling, allegedly number 2, versus the perennial Alabama junior heavyweight champion Mike Jackson.
What a pop Mike Jackson got here.
Yes. But hey, we've had enough of this pesky talking about wrestling matches. We need more talking. Let's go to Boyd, who's actually going to introduce the match and go from there.
This event, one fall with a 10-minute time limit at 235 pounds. In the red corner, from Atlanta, Georgia, North American heavyweight champion, Mr. Wrestling number 2. And
wait a minute. Let me tell you something right now. I am, as of right now, Mr. Wrestling. I always have been number 1, and I'm going to be number 1 from now on. You took me as Mr. Wrestling. You understand that?
Mr. Wrestling. And across the ring, 202 pounds, from Birmingham, Alabama, Mike Jackson. A non-title match, one fall, 10-minute time limit. Your referee, Carl Fergie.
There's a little confusion here. Mike Jackson just consented to let me take his place in this match with wrestling too. He said a lot of things about what he'd do to me if he got me in this ring, and now I'm gonna give him his chance. I'm not wrestling this man. I'm not wrestling. I didn't sign a contract to wrestle this man here. and I'm not wrestling him. That's all there is to it. I signed a contract to wrestle that man right there, and that's who I'm wrestling.
We'll have to talk to Grizzly Smith about it.
And let me tell you something. You taught me a lot of lessons, you know that, right? Okay, well, there's one lesson you taught me real well.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Boyd Pierce is exiting from the ring. Magnum TA has really challenged Mr. Wrestling 2, and he's got time to put up or shut up.
Come on, you got your chance. Let's go. I'm ready. Let's go.
A very interesting situation indeed, ladies and gentlemen.
Let me tell you something right now, my boy. I'm not in charge anymore. I'm not my own man. I have to wrestle who they say I wrestle. And that's who I'm wrestling. I'm not wrestling you or any other time. I'm wrestling this man here. I'm not my own man. I have to wrestle who they tell me to. You understand that?
I'll tell you what you are. You're a coward. You're a man hiding behind that title. I don't want a title match. I just want to wrestle you right now. And I'll tell you another thing. If you can beat me right here now in the middle, I'll leave Mid-South. You told me one time a man couldn't be humiliated any more than being slapped. Well, I've slapped you once.
Boy, Magnum TA has slapped Mr. Wrestling 2, the North American champion, 2 times right in the face. He has issued the ultimate challenge to the North American champion. Magnum TA and Mr. Wrestling 2 are leaving the ring. We're not going to have a match. It looks like we're not going to have a match. Mr. Wrestling 2 has backed away, but we'll be back with more exciting.
Okay. What a fucking awesome coward Mr. Wrestling 2 is.
Yes.
Am I right?
Absolutely. What a fucking sniveling piece of shit. Fantastic.
I'll wrestle you anytime, anywhere. Oh, no, I can't wrestle you anymore because I'm the North American champion. So, I can only wrestle the people that I'm signed to wrestle. And I'm signed to wrestle Mike Jackson.
Yeah, well, he can't
Lord.
he can't just book himself. That would be anarchy if wrestlers could just decide who they were going to wrestle.
The worst thing Grizzly Smith has ever done is not sign Mr. Wrestling 2 versus Magnum TA this week. That's all he had to do because Mr. Wrestling 2 obviously was not going to say no to wrestling Magnum TA, but he didn't have a contract to wrestle Magnum TA.
Clearly.
I'm sure otherwise 2 would have been thrilled to do it.
Definitely a bureaucratic oversight.
Yes. Yeah. And I just love it. I know a lot of people don't like Mr. Wrestling 2, and it's like he's definitely a blast from the past here in 1984 Mid-South. But like I'm really getting into this heel Mr. Wrestling 2 the last few months here.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yes. Mid-South is on fire right now. And yeah, Mike Jackson with the hell of a pop. And I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that TA was on his way out to the ring.
Was he visible? Was he visible when they introduced Mike Jackson?
I mean, I'm sure he was coming down the steps. But anyway, from here, it's still not time for more wrestling. It's time for a recap of the Russians attacking Hacksaw Dugan last week. And that leads us to our very first match. 31 minutes and 35 seconds into the show, the bell rings to start Hacksaw Jim Dugan versus Nikolai Volkov. At 32 minutes and 18 seconds, the bell rang again when a masked man and Crusher Darsow hit the ring for the disqualification.
44 seconds. Yeah.
43 or 44 seconds of wrestling. I was laughing at this point. It's like, this really is a Vince Russo show right now.
I just imagine if Twitter had existed in 1984.
Yeah, damn, you can't call him a sissy. Oh wait, that's you could say that in 1984. God damn it, where's the wrestling on my wrestling show?
Yeah.
So yes, we have a masked man, a masked Russian, if you will. Now with Crusher Darsow, now with Nikolai Volkov, they're attacking Hacksaw Dugan, and the Rock and Roll Express and Terry Taylor hit the ring for the save, and we got a seven-man battle royal. What's with all these battle royals on these shows this week? Um, Butch Reed ran down to try to attack Terry Taylor, but Taylor posted Reed before rejoining the Battle Royal, which was won by the baby faces. Now, did you look to see who the masked man was, Trey?
No, I didn't. They said later he's the Russian fucking something.
The Russian invader, and
Yeah,
he's
there you
going to
go.
be sports entertaining next week. Do you want me to tell you who it is, or do you want to wait till next week?
Are they going to reveal who it is?
No,
Okay, who is it?
Jerry Novak,
Oh,
who's a
well,
Mid-South jobber,
good
or he
for
was a
good for
Mid-South
Jerry
jobber.
Novak.
Yes. So after that grueling 43-second match, it's time for our next match, because yeah, we're on a roll here. It is Terry Taylor versus Butch Reed in the ninth round of the television tournament for a medal and $10,000. And I gotta ask you, wasn't the whole point of this because last week the match started too late and they went to a time limit draw? Why did they wait so long to put this match in the ring this week?
I had the same thought, and I don't have an answer.
Yeah. Um, so Reed has a sling on due to Taylor sneaking up behind him and sending him into the post earlier. And he has a very legitimate question. He wants to delay the match 1 week. You know, the TV title match is in 2 weeks, so why not put this match off 1 week and instead wrestle next week? It sounds perfectly
Yeah,
reasonable, don't you think?
absolutely.
Well, Boyd Pierce is a dick and informs Butch Reed that if he doesn't wrestle, then he will lose by forfeit. Um, when suddenly, oh my God, it's a miracle. Reed is okay, and he has the coal miner's glove, and he punches Taylor in both the arm and the stomach with it. Taylor spits up some Alka-Seltzer, and the Rock and Rolls and Jim Duggan make the save.
Why did he need to foam at the mouth after getting hit with a glove?
It's to show, I guess, the internal injuries that this oven mitt is causing.
Guess.
Do you think Bill Watts' wife was sitting around going, "What the hell happened to my oven mitt?" And then she was watching Mid South 1 week and like, "Oh, there's my oven mitt."
That's funny. I want to believe that that's exactly what happened.
It's not what you make, it's what you say.
Exactly.
I wrote that so far there have been 43 seconds of wrestling on this show. Did Russo book this? Um,
Indeed.
After the commercial break, we find out that JR has talked to matchmaker Grizzly Smith, and Butch Reed has been expelled from the tournament, which means
Good.
Taylor
Should be.
advances to the finals in 2 weeks. This,
I
this,
think that's
this has been a
valid
weird
given the
tournament.
events. It's been a
Yes.
very weird tournament. Well, it's for the Mid South television title, a medal, and $10,000.
Yes. I just love it. And I never went back to listen to them, but Brian and Vinny did say this was the worst tournament ever. And I disagree. That WCW title tournament was much worse, but this is this was a bit of a crazy tournament here so far.
It's
I
pretty
can't
wacky.
wait in 2 weeks we're gonna get the 10th round. So that should be fun.
So excited. So excited.
All right, so it's now time for the our main event, our expiration of time match, Masayo Ito versus Larry Santana. This was an Ito moves match. He did every move he knows and one that he doesn't, which was a pile driver, and won the match in 1 minute 16 seconds, which more than doubles the amount of wrestling that we've had on the show so far today.
Yeah. Ito in a moves match is not. I don't know. I don't think that he would do. I don't think he'd be able to blitz his opponent that well if it was Larry's brother Tito.
Now, of course, like I said, this is an Ito moves match, but even when he's making up moves, he still doesn't have that many of them. So hence it only went 1 minute 16.
Yeah, he did all his stuff.
Yes. Then the show ends with JR recapping the first 25 minutes of the show and then re-airing the Eye of the Tiger music video and an announcement that next week it's going to be Dugan versus the Russian Invader and the Rock and Roll Express versus Butch Reed and Budrow.
Find you somebody who loves you the way Jim Ross loves Cowboy Bill Watts.
That is true love right there. True love. So somehow it only took us an hour to recap that show.
Good for us. We're really good at this.
Yeah. I was joking that I was just gonna, start at 000, press play, and come back in 46 minutes and talk about it.
It's funny because there was like so little wrestling on this show, but then you never felt like you weren't getting a good show.
No, this was a great fucking show, like no doubt. Um, and we are on the road to the Superdome, and I'll be honest, I don't know what happens after this. Like, I know the Midnight Express are around, I think, till the end of the year, so it's not like, oh, on the surface, it looks like, oh, we're wrapping things up, with them, and they're gonna move on. But no, nothing like that.
Well, Watts kind of thought the same thing, I think, and then well, I don't want to go too detailed into it, but the Midnight get over enough that they still have heat after the angle is over, so they have they have steam for another feud.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I know that comes next. Yeah, you got the Rock and Roll Express. But I just mean in general, like, don't know what happens with the company in 3 weeks, for instance. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I don't
All
know.
right. So easy thumbs up on Mid South this week. I mean, World Class wasn't necessarily thumbs down, but it wasn't anything noteworthy.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah. All right, so we have some WrestleMania 41 news, which
Oh, do
I
we?
mean, I guess I guess since I'm posting this in like an hour or so, it's not going to be too far off like it usually is. But as expected, the women's world title match is officially a three-way with Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Um, and if my Facebook is any indication, apparently Io really beat the shit out of Rhea during the angle that ensued. And then we have a four-way for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. It's going to be Braun Breaker, Penta, Finn Balor, and Dominic Mysterio.
I'm disappointed that that's not a singles match because I was really hoping that Penta would become the linear AEW World Champion at WrestleMania.
I mean, it is a type of a singles match.
It's
Do
not
multi-man
though.
matches, does it not
No,
count?
no, only singles matches.
Okay. All right. I guess. Um, Did you watch Dark Side of the Ring last week at all?
I have not watched anything this season yet. I will. I am very busy right now, so it's I'm doing all I can to keep up on our shows.
I was gonna say we got a lot of shows to do here because yeah, we're recording this Monday night, you know, for to drop tomorrow. But then pretty much I'm recording a show every single day for the next 8 days except for Wednesday. Um, it's like literally tomorrow we're doing Smoky Mountain. Thursday I'm doing ECW on TNN. Friday we're doing this. Saturday we're doing Smoky Mountain for next week. And then Sunday I'm doing TNA. And then next Monday we're doing this. And the next Tuesday we're doing Smoky Mountain again. I I will be ready for my fucking vacation come time for my vacation. I might be sick of
Yeah,
wrestling by the time I get to my wrestling vacation.
you're gonna yeah, you're gonna be on vacation, and I'm gonna be very busy that week, I think.
Watching a lot of wrestling or is the big move?
Well, kayfabe because we're not talking about it yet, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. We're keeping things kayfabe here. Um, let's see. It feels like this show was almost too short, even though we just said we're gonna do like 15 shows over the next week. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
I mean, no, I don't know. What else is going on in the world? Well, let's not talk about
I'd say
that.
that
Let's
I'd
not.
say that's a scary question.
Yeah, we
Uh,
don't want to do. We don't. Fair point. Fair point.
um, I'll be honest, like I don't want to talk about anything wrestling related either because I just don't want to get into that. Oh, did you watch any of Major League Wrestling on Saturday?
I did not.
I
Tell me
watched a
about it.
little bit. Um, I'll be honest, I quote unquote watched the match, and then I saw the sessions with Grant where Baron Corbin and Donovan Dijak laid out Matt Riddle and Filthy Tom before the Battle Riot, and then it turned
Oh,
out that Matt Riddle won anyway.
okay.
Are you still there?
Whatever. Yeah, I'm here.
Why were you?
MLW is like. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I am. Are you unhappy with Matt Riddle retaining the MLW title?
I I don't
You
really
won't hurt
want to
my
talk about
feelings if
Matt
the answer
Riddle.
is yes. Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
Apparently,
It's
Art. Mhm.
oh, nothing.
Okay. Well, apparently RVD got hurt in the end there because it came down to him and Riddle, and I guess from what I hear, RVD hurt his knee.
Oh no.
Yes, and this was his first match since the 420 four-way last year.
Oh,
I think that
really? Wow.
I, I think that match was a little rigged for him, don't you think? That 420 four-way.
It did seem to favor him.
Uh, I mean, they didn't have the Rascals in there, and I mean, their whole gimmick is, they smoke pot, or at least that was their gimmick when they were in TNA.
Is it? I didn't realize.
Yes. Well, it was their gimmick. I doubt they ever were doing promos backstage on NXT just in a room engulfed in marijuana smoke.
Remember I remember being like 13 and not understanding all of the chronic like weed puns. It's funny.
Yeah, I didn't get it either. I got the RVD 420 stuff, but that was about it.
RVD 420 says I just smoked your ass.
Yes. And then who was it? Was it PW Insider that broke the news that RVD was a pot smoker in like
Oh,
1999?
was that ever breaking news?
Apparently it was, and they thought it was going to be this big deal that might cost ECW the TNN deal. Uh, but it was like, really? Like this is your breaking news?
Like that's kind of like his whole thing.
Yes. They figured out why he was so cool and laid back and chill.
Never occurred to them to think about it before.
No. I guess it's nice of them for not just assuming that, somebody is a pot smoker because they're cool and laid back and chill, but still. All right. So
It's true.
I I guess we've put off ending the show long enough. All right, so we might as well just end it. Go listen to the Oh My God cast. Um, Also listen to the Friday Night Spot Show. We've done some good shit on that show, and there's some weirdos commenting on our YouTube videos. So if you want to be one of our weirdos,
Oh,
comment below. We may shout you out on the show sometime.
apologies to the person who was very offended that I forgot that Bianca Belair won the Elimination Chamber.
I think we both forgot that, to be honest. Oh, the damn show was like a month ago at this point. Anyway, that's going to do it for this week's show. Thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed it. We'll talk to you again in 7 days.
Bye.